Hello, welcome to the Men with Tegridy Podcast, sponsored by Cream Fraiche. I'm your host, Mushrooms on Pizza.
And I'm the co-host, Bino P.
And we're covering the newest episode of South Park because we're out here just trying to make our nut.
Just trying to make our nut. Got a nut.
We have big nuts. So we have a lot to talk about here. And please like and subscribe to grow our nuts. Because the bigger nuts that we have, the more content you'll get. So, there's a lot of nut-on-nut action here. And,
we can't just keep
gatherer.
Yeah, we can't just keep microwaving nuts, It's, there's only so big as they can get, and we just need more people to see them.
Yeah, and we like to roast nuts here, too. So we're going to roast some nuts. I might roast a little bit of your nuts. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit of the president's nuts.
Chef's
maybe a little bit
balls.
Of, Satan's nuts. Jesus'
Satan's
nuts? I don't know.
There's a lot of nuts to talk about. Kristi Noem.
Kristi Noem, or as we will now call her, a puppy killer.
Oh, I already called her that.
Yeah. She killed a lot of dogs. She killed Crypto.
I kept track of how many dogs she killed.
Oh, did you see at the end? The end credits where she goes into the
I stopped counting because I couldn't tell. And I was like, I think we're at about 20 dogs now.
Bro, the service dog got me right here in the field. Yeah. When she got the service dog.
I love that, and that was the thing I was thinking about, is they really, I believe they use Maya as their software. And so all of those things they have to hand model and create, and they're a new asset that's put in your profile, in your program. And they made the cutest, over-created dogs just to shoot them and have blood splatter.
Oh man, favorite dog too. They killed the husky dude, and then they killed a Dalmatian. It's just like, bro, it's brutal. And then they killed the last one that they killed on screen, I guess, until the credits. Was our boy Crypto,
the super dog. Guess she had kryptonite bullets. But yeah, I counted that. I mean, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I have about 7 that happened on screen, plus about another 20 that happened in the pet shop at the end.
Her face melting, cold. I don't know if it's a callback to Raiders of the Lost Ark, but her face how it melted was so good. Yeah, it's like a Salvador Dali painting, a Pablo Picasso. Yeah. The fucking eye moving upside down, her mouth. It was so surreal, artwork. I loved it. It was so good.
It was like Cronenberg, it was almost like a Meat Canyon video. So I feel like Mar-a-Lago was a parody of something. I think you said
I can Fantasy Island. It's like the show from the 70s and 80s. And I only know it because I think that The Simpsons made a whole episode about it.
And I think
that was a really good episode. But I immediately saw JD Vance and I saw them walk out, and my brain went to the man with the golden gun, because that same character who plays Tattoo in Fantasy Island plays Scaramanga's little minion in The Man with the Golden Gun. But then I was like, wait, no, that's Ricardo Montalban. I think they're referencing, not Christopher Lee. So then I was like, okay, so it was definitely Fantasy Island. And then JD Vance has Tattoo's like, dude, what is your fantasy? And then Trump kicks him.
Yeah. And I think they remade it. I think Blumhouse remade it as a movie a few years ago. I didn't see it, but
they did a prequel.
Oh, okay.
Or something.
But Fantasy Island definitely, I didn't catch that, but I think you're right. And I also think there was some Indiana Jones to it as well, with Mr. Mackey coming to the island, which I think we've gotten even ahead of ourselves because of the framing of the whole episode. Last episode I thought was such great cutting satire, excellent, dealing with so many levels of this, of our American culture. But this episode I think does it again, but in some ways that are even more subtle. Like that last episode was, and more for the deeper fans. I think in some ways the last episode had some of that for us, but it was more for a casual person coming back to watch the show. Maybe they saw something once, maybe they know a little bit about it. It's been on for 30 years. Why don't, but this episode, I feel like it had a lot of these really fun, deep cuts to previous things. Even that growth on Cartman's character, leaning into being Charlie Kirk, and him going, "Stop stealing my shtick," is like, hilarious.
Loved it. I loved it. So funny.
But I was gonna say, I think
Dad, stealing my shtick.
Stop stealing my shtick, Clyde, and Clyde being just like a grifter, hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, he just went all in on the grifter. They do #respect Clyde's authority.
Yeah. And I wonder if they added some of that maybe to even like mock Charlie Kirk, immediately adopting somebody else's persona by taking that Cartman profile picture.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I love the way they it's done in such a stupid way, but it is the reality of the situation, which it's so. I have a whole thing I want to talk about, and maybe we can bring it up here, but just in general, there's the saying that art imitates life, does art imitate life, or does life imitate art? And I think something like South Park is, we're at the brink of the singularity. I'm going to have a stroke. It's one of those things where it's like, is life imitating art, or is life and art just the same thing at this point because of how fast the fact that the White House is even responding to the show and to every, that it's almost
cool about it. Yeah,
it's happening faster than the series of events that led to World War I, with better communication. It's goddamn crazy how fast people are able to respond to things with this level of entertainment and fun.
Yeah.
Let's get that fucking nut. You were saying you were going to talk about Cartman Schtick.
I don't know. Cartman Schtick. Okay, so I love how they're taking this as like a whole arc of the season. Like we're going to see this like Cartman transformation, and depending on current events, I bet you it shifts to what they want to do with it. Because I don't know if they have an end goal in sight. Maybe they do.
And Cartman's bent both ways over the years, that they could go either way with it if they wanted to, and it'd still be true to the character.
Yeah. But maybe he transforms to something else. I mean, we have Cartman in the first episode having an existential crisis, right? Where am I in this world without woke? And then this episode, oh my God, everyone has stolen my persona. And even when he thinks he's going to get an award, nah, they're going to give it to an imposter. So Cartman, you're not one of a kind anymore. And that's a great commentary by Matt and Trey, just saying like, wow, Cartman's now mainstream. Like this whole shtick is now up for grabs. Everyone's using it. What is his place in the satirical world, right? I guess his place in the satirical world is just going, why is everyone stealing from me? So I think that's really, really clever, really funny. And what I also loved about this episode is the continuation of Bible verses just being dropped. Cartman throwing out 2 different Leviticus verses, and none of them make sense to what he's saying in his arguments, because I looked them up.
Yes.
Like, one of them is just a diatribe about, Aaron sacrificing a calf with Moses. It makes no sense in the context.
Well, and that's I totally agree, and I love what they did there, because I was thinking about what Clyde means and what Cartman means if they're fitting into these categories, of like the grifter and like the real one. And I was trying to think, what is that? And it's like Clyde is almost like he's just regurgitating the talking points, which in some ways Cartman is too. That's all right-wing points, is they just regurgitate nonsense, and you're like, what? Do you believe that? And they're like, I guess. And I thought, yeah, what did you say?
He really does. That's his whole thing. Like, he really does believe all the stuff he's
doing. Well, exactly. Like Clyde is just adopting it because it's popular now. It's the cool thing to be the Republican grifter and to be like a Neo Coom or a Steven Crowder, But Charlie Kirk, he does it for the love of the game. He's an old school bigot. Like, Charlie Kirk will come out and he'll just, he'll be a bigot for the love of the game. It's what was I gonna say? It's like Cartman is almost like a Freudian interpretation of like your worst, your id imprisoned. So as a character, we can see him be hateful, but we can also hate him for it. And it has this nice like contained, like if I'm playing Grand Theft Auto and I gotta get the rage out.
The joke's always on Cartman.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Like, and even if he's being funny in being a disgusting person, it's the idea that you couldn't say this. But now it's so commonplace. Clyde's getting an award for it, and you were saying a moment ago about how none of their Bible verses make any sense. Nothing they say makes sense. Cartman, to be fair, once again, Cartman as a hater for the love of the game, his does make sense, and I don't like what he says. His is all very hateful and gross and very misogynistic, and
what? He's just master debating everywhere.
Yeah, he's master debating everywhere. But everything Clyde says, I wrote down some of their arguments, and I was looking at it, and it's, butters, sweet butters. Why are bagels so yummy? And Clyde's response is an ad hom and an irrelevant comment of, you hate America, and what is a woman?
What is a... Well, like, he was talking about, like, the Jews having some good things that they made or whatever, and he goes, bagels are delicious, or bagels are yummy. What is a woman?
Yeah, I see you hate America, and you don't believe in the school. What is a woman? And I love that it throws Butters. He has no idea what he's going to say, and he goes, a nice lady who kisses you? Not a bad interpretation of what a woman is.
I got that down. He goes, nah. Scripture and science.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so you can't answer. And then he reads the scripture. And then the girls' soccer team is a Marxist indoctrination factory, is the next argument being levied. And he goes, oh, so I see. If you hate America and you want to benefit you won't benefit off the free market. You love cell phones. That's what it was. Is you benefit off the free market and you love cell phones. And black and gay people have it better than straight white men. I love that it's turned into this, like, because it really feels like that when I'm watching television, and sometimes I can assume before it happens what the backlash in real life will be. And it's because none of these arguments have, like, merit or backing or reason. It's literally just like, look at the Bible, or like, it's tautological, but I don't know what tautology is. And it's all of a sudden all these people who are just arguing, well, women are women, but they don't understand that argument doesn't prove their point, but the other point. And it turns into a whole crazy...
Yeah, they're not advancing any... I mean, like, they could make a very solid argument, but they don't know the facts to make that argument. So they just say circular reasoning.
Yeah, and not even circular.
A woman's a woman. What is a woman? A woman is woman.
Yeah, but that's an answer to Judaism, to what about bagels? How yummy are bagels? What is a woman? And it's so bothering me because it's so close to reality. And I know I want to go later. We were talking about the comments and what Twitter looks like right now.
Exactly like how they presented in the episode. It's so funny.
Where it's just people who are grabbing at straws of things that they've heard other people say and don't really know how to formulate an argument or a perspective. And it's funny when it's South Park and it's terrifying when it's real life.
That's why it's funny in South Park, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's like I think another moment that they did beautifully with that is later in the episode when the protests are happening, and it's just a split moment showing the protests, and they're interviewing the man on the street, and he says, he's essentially just making an argument toward humanity. He says, I know lots of Latinos who are good people and who made it to heaven.
Yeah.
Hard cut to ice, mowing down people in heaven. Hilarious. Once again.
By the way, if we're going to talk about that, that scene is one of the best moments I think South Park's ever done, because South Park has established a lot of things about their version of heaven or whatever. So, like, in my mind, I'm replaying, like, oh, they're going to be Mormons up there or something like that. But no, it's just full of Mexicans, all right? And then they're all just getting fucking rounded up. And that one guy is just, like, flying around as an angel. The ice people are jumping around.
It's hard.
The dog, angel dog. Oh, my God.
There was something that Kristi Noem says there. I forget what it was where she... Oh, no, it's Mr. Mackey says, how did you get into heaven? I was a really good person.
Oh, I wrote down some of the Kristi Noem things. She goes, as they're rounding them up, she says, remember, if it's brown, it's going down.
Yeah. It's too
And then she says, no more brownies in heaven.
Yeah. Terrifying. the idea that they would, if they could, and South Park has dealt with this kind of idea before, which I appreciate, and like you said, there's so many times they've gone to heaven in order to, they've built a ladder to heaven. The Mormons are in heaven. The way they go into it this time, and it really is just like a sincere look at like, well, no, I was just a good person, is kind of heartbreaking. It's
yeah. The guy's like, Mackey asks him how he got to heaven, and he goes, "Oh, I donated to charities. Like I did whatever good work.
Nice to work." And it's just,
it just feels bad.
Yeah,
it plays right into the theme of the episode. Because we talked about Clyde and his imposter, basically of Cartman, right?
Yeah.
So Mackey at the end of the episode tells Clyde, and he takes home the message. So he says, "I know we all have a lot of pressures, and we all want nice things, okay? But if you're doing something you don't really believe in just to make your nut, you're going to find out that you just get sadder and your nut just gets bigger, okay?" So that's the thing. Yeah, Clyde's not really Cartman. And these people that are saying these things, these grifters, don't actually believe in it. They're just there to try to make the money. But when you're chasing that cloud to get money, you lose your soul, and you just want more money. You need more money. So it's an endless cycle. I think that was a pretty powerful point, and they took it home, and I liked it a lot. And that made the episode a really, really strong one, in my opinion. And what could be a classic.
I think so. And I think that the way that they dealt also with, like, I was thinking almost it's a prescient criticism of capitalism in a lot of ways, that it's like got this really interesting look at the more you make, the more things cost, that you'll sell your soul to work for ICE, essentially. That right away, which I love, they brought back the saving loan guy, and he gets to say his catchphrase. What a fun bit for them to get to dip back into that, which that's also a great criticism of capitalism, that episode with the Margaritaville.
That guy. That guy, I don't play the video game, but in the video game, you can go to the bank, and then you can put your money in the bank, like that you collect in the game, and then he just goes, he's like typing on his computer, he goes, and then we'll put it into this account, blah, 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 and it's good. But he says one line in this, and I thought it was so funny. He's talking about, like, Mackey rounding up the more bonuses you get, plus we can extrapolate it based on the amount of Mexicans you capture, and he goes, but then he says
how many Costa Ricans you might incur.
Yeah, of course, compound any Costa Ricans you might incur.
Yeah, it's like, that's, once again, the satire is too good. It hurts. It's same thing with, like, and with the whole Kristi Noem shooting dogs thing. Like, that's one of those things. Like, yeah, she did shoot her dog. She shot her dog, and she bragged about it in her memoir. And it's like, she's never been like, yeah, I guess that was a little weird of me. She's been like, yeah, I did that. I'll shoot your dog too. And it's so cartoonish. And something about Kristi Noem going into that, or, hold on, we'll come back to, no, I guess I've derailed too much for Kristi Noem. Something with Kristi Noem, going back to a little bit what we were saying earlier with that and her face. At first I was, what?
Her fucking Pablo Picasso
terror monster Cronenberg monster body horror face. I also like that when it comes off, you don't see what's underneath.
The fucking Botox.
Yeah, her team, which that was something I noticed, is they modeled all of the team members. So I wonder if they're going to become not bigger characters, but just reoccurring gags that we may get more Kristi Noem as the show goes on. But they've made more for less. But I was going to say, at first I was kind of like, this is my woke brain getting a little too critical. It's a cartoon. They're always graphic. They're always they make fun of everybody. I was like, Kristi Noem, it's a little, she's a piece of human garbage and a monster. Like, we can make fun of her all we want. I thought it was almost borderline too much for the face stuff. But then I thought about it. They were like, they didn't use her actual face like they did with Trump and with JD Vance, and I think that was almost in a way to, like, avoid that levied criticism, that it was like they went full cartoon for her. And I think that was like them even considering,
like, her face in the show resembles her face in reality. Her face looks fake.
Yeah.
So like it's easy to create something that looks fake in a cartoon. So
it's like why they made Toy Story all plastic characters was they couldn't make skin look really good yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
oh man, that gag though just got funnier and funnier.
Yeah, and I watched the episode a couple times and like it's terrifying. Like another thing about the animation, which is like the show, I think the budget has gotten much larger this season, and it's a weird thing because the show always looks low budget just because of the nature of the aesthetic, but it's not 2D, it's a 3D modeled TV show, and I'm noticing how many background assets are just like 3D shaded, objects, like an actual table sitting in the background that it's like I could move the camera over here and we could see it like that. And it's amazing to think how far the show has come from, literally having paper cutouts, and what kind of simplicity they really leaned into, and how much Cartman has different hair models now. But it's, when you have a 1.5 billion, I guess you can. But another thing I noticed about that, like I said, the Kristi Noem's makeup crew is all new models, but so is JD Vance, which, God, I hope they give us more JD Vance. Absolutely hilarious.
Dude, that was so freaking funny.
But they modeled all of Mar-a-Lago. Like, all of that is a lot of effort, and I could very easily see that be a reoccurring location, and they may have just like knocked the assets out of the way so that way we can have it now, and they were showing it off almost with that plane shot and with the hallways and everything. But it looked great. It was, and I thought it was so funny. Everything in Mar-a-Lago was, I was looking for more Easter eggs. I didn't catch a ton.
Like, oh my God, they made everyone there super old or super has white. Fucking work, for their tits and face and all that. Oh my God. It was so good. And, the detail of having all the young spa girls, like, holy shit. Like, they are relentless, man. And that's that whole controversy. I don't know if you want to get into the whole Jeffrey Epstein Trump thing. Maybe that's a little bit too much. But
roughly, that was just in the news recently.
Controversy. Trump recently came out and said that, Epstein was taking his young spa girls for himself. South Park just showing maybe that's how they are, like, working there. Maybe it's just a bunch of like 16, 18-year-old girls, just working at the spa, giving people massages, and then you have Dora the Explorer there getting trafficked into Mar-a-Lago. Holy shit.
And that Dora the Explorer joke is so good on so many levels, because it's one of those things, it's being able to say that they're kidnapping, little Mexican and Latino kids, and it's also them shitting on Paramount, and it's also them, getting to just have a surrealist
Paramount owns Dora the Explorer.
Exactly, and that's it's a Nickelodeon property, which is Paramount, and it's one of their most profitable, I'd imagine. So for them to do that is they're covered because it's their own company, so they're not going to get sued for representing something outside of their legal realm. That's like one of the things that when Simpsons got bought by Disney, they were allowed to start parodying Simpsons crap.
But just to take it home about suing, the DHS, without South Park's permission, used a South Park image for an advertisement.
Yes.
Which is not allowed. That is illegal. So,
to be fair, though, it is a retweet. I don't know if that falls under the same... It's
appropriation of likeness. So they don't own... So, like, in the law, there's different forms of... It's a specific area of tort law. And basically, this area of tort law protects businesses or entities from having their properties used in advertisements. So, if they wanted to... But they won't.
Well, and I'm going to say the argument against
to them... But, like, they can't do it. So, like... It reminds me of when the guy who did Fahrenheit 9/11, that movie, what's his name?
Fahrenheit 9/11.
The documentary, the guy, he's like a fat guy.
Morgan Spurlock? Oh, no. What's his name? Baseball glasses.
Yeah.
The one who did Bowling for Columbine.
That's it. So the movie Bowling for Columbine uses... Because it's talking about Columbine, he actually steals South Park's...
Michael Moore.
Michael Moore, yes. Yeah. So Michael Moore used an animation that resembled so much like South Park.
Oh yes.
That he actually sued him because he basically stole it. Because it's taking place in Colorado. And I think he was talking about like gun violence in Canada or something like that, and he used the South Park style animation. You can't do that. You have to pay these guys. They own the copyright. So like the fact that DHS, and this is the thing that with the Trump administration, like he takes other people's music and uses it for his own political ads. But this is different. So it's not a campaign, all right, where there's like murkiness to it. And Trump's anyway supposed to pay for it. This is a straight up advertisement to get people to recruit it. And I know that, for specifically ICE, give me a second. You could take out what I'm about to say and then make it seem seamless. Make it seem seamless in 3, 2, 1. Where's my fucking goddamn write down here? Where is it? Okay, I found it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. If you need a job, it's a job to have. That's the ad that they used in this episode. So if it's a job to have. They make fun of it. They make fun of their advertisement, which is allowed because it's
parody.
It's fair use. It's a parody.
Yeah, it's parody law.
DHF can't use South Park's material for recruitment videos. They have to pay South Park to do that and get their permission.
If it was promotional material from South Park that had been on Twitter already, that would be one thing. But I see what you're saying. The fact that they did go out of their way to actually remove it from the context. So that to me does fit that.
But there's no way they sue them because...
No, it's because it gets murky like that.
No, it's just like that's not their... Like, you're not going to go against the government right now.
Eat your bread.
Eat your bread.
Shut up and eat your bread. I was also going to say, like, this is my own silly brain. I was thinking about the whole scene going back to the bank manager and him talking to him is like almost we were talking about there's almost like a feedback loop of like if it's a job, it's a job to have if it's a job. Or what was the slogan? Yeah, and it's almost like
the slogan is if you need a job, it's a job to have.
Yeah, if you need a job, it's a job to have. And isn't it so interesting that they would do that right after if Trump fires the head of the unemployment numbers? I'm blanking on the name of the titles of the things, but you know what I'm talking about. Where it's one of those things where it's almost like they're trying to push people into recruitment, where it's like conscription, where it's almost this like, you really need a job, don't you? You really need it. And it's like...
this is detracting from our whole South Park thing, but they're paying people's entire college loans.
Well, and South Park is even... Exactly. And it's like, anyone in our audience who may be watching this, don't take that job. And if you do a really bad job at it and sabotage everything that's going on. But also, I didn't say that in Minecraft, okay? But that's what I want you to all take away from that is in Minecraft, you have to sabotage your position and collect that $50,000 check. Make sure you let free as many of the mob as you can in Minecraft.
Yeah, the masks and that joke. And it takes me back to Watchmen on HBO, where all the cops, yes. They'll have to have the masks up. And that's before COVID, right? That came out like a year before COVID. So, like, the fact that...
Which also, if anyone here hasn't watched that show,
reality, right? Fiction's becoming reality. They called it.
Yeah, and also it leans into like a real world fear of mine, and I think we even touched on this in our last episode. Is like, it's like the Gestapo. It's like brown shirts. It's one of those things where it literally is like, we don't care if you have an education. We don't care what your background is. Get in here. You have some stuff at home you want to bring in. You don't have any training. Go for it. And so that's like all of a sudden people are on Amazon buying ice costumes or like green shit that looks like it or whatever. And all of a sudden you have a bunch of people who are militarizing in the street or participating in these raids because their buddy called them and they got a job. And it turns into like, this is not a safe place anymore. And I think we're getting we're there where it's too bad. We're there. It's a bad time to be at in Minecraft. And
in real life.
And in real life, you gotta punch the trees. Let's see, where were we? We were saying There was one where they yanked off when they were in heaven. They yanked off one of the people's halos. Pretty graphic.
Yes. God.
They had a good sound effect for that too.
I didn't notice the sound effect. I have to check.
It was like chink.
Oh
my god.
The heaven scene though. Oh. Again, just so good.
And after everyone is using Bible verses to be disgusting, where it's for a moment I want to address the Charlie Kirk Awards for young master debaters.
And with the ice, I have one more comment.
Oh yeah,
one
sure.
More comment
Sure.
So when Mackey's talking to the guy at the bank, right? They're having that argument about how to characterize what Mackey's doing, and he goes, looks like you got some nice bonuses for rounding up the most Mexicans. And then Mackey goes and says, we don't round up Mexicans, okay? We just detain foreigners who might be illegal.
Yeah. It's South Park has always been too close to real, but it's getting bad, and I think and I was gonna say, going back to that, how bad it's getting is it's kind of funny because I think about like Cartman, right? And he is so awful that he revels in being evil and being like disgusting since the beginning. Scott Tedderman, he chops up parents and feeds them, and we're at that point where it's like, we're not done just rounding up people in America, we're gonna round them up in heaven. And I think that it's like, if there are people today that if I met the right moron and I was like, yeah, I think Latinos could go to heaven, they'd be like, well, I would kick them out. And you'd be like,
not heaven.
Yeah, they couldn't get there. And you'd be like, what the fuck? Where is your humanity? And I appreciate that South Park has still, in 8 layers of satire, has found this voice of being like, no, we're humanitarian. We believe in people having rights, and this is too far. This is ridiculous. And he's literally fucking Satan and asking people to lube him up. It's not okay.
Yeah, well, imagine this. You destroyed JD Vance so bad. Like, they just absolutely destroyed him. You have Trump directing him to lube up Satan's asshole. And then JD Vance's response to that is like, go on Twitter and be like, I feel so, I've made it. I feel so honored to be on South Park. It's like, but did you watch it? Because why are you even commenting? Like, the fact that they are like they should just ignore it. Why are you putting any more attention to it?
Because like Cartman, they revel in being evil. They celebrate and laugh and lick the tears off their enemies' faces. It's one of those things where they do it for the love of the game. These guys are pro rage baiters, and it's a real skill, and I've seen it happen for many years, and I'm realizing it's part of the game. They want it in the discussion, and they don't even deny stuff anymore. They just ignore it. Denial is too generous a term for the way that they talk about criticism. And criticism is too generous a term for the things that people are levying at them for the things that they do. And I appreciate South Park's, they're so good at walking a fine line that it's not a fine line. That's how bad everything has gotten, is it's not even like tiptoeing around the subjects anymore. It's like, we're basically saying it, but we can't legally say things.
But you know what? Everything's going to be fine, because the only counselor we need,
Mr. Mackey,
is Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's Jesus Christ. I liked how, I don't know if I like it, but in character wise, PC Principal, when he fires Mr. Mackey, he goes, PC Principal, he goes, power Christian Principal. He's correcting, he doesn't want to be associated with PC anymore. He's not okay with that as a term. He's worried people will get confused. And I find that to be an interesting distinction that we're getting, is he's got to interject. No, it's power Christian Principal.
Power Christian Principal?
I also like that for all the old references, like we're getting the bank manager and we're getting PC Principal, and did we get somebody else? Oh, and we also got the WoW guy is joining ICE.
He joined ICE, the WoW guy, who was in that troll arc.
Yes.
Series, in like season 20, when they did the trolls in, what was it, Denmark or whatever?
Yeah. And so I'm glad they brought him back. He's the right kind of person to do it. And it's another thing where it's like, they made the model. He's sitting around. They can put him in the show. It's a fun gimmick for us. And if you've never seen the show before, he fits what was happening in the clip.
Perfectly. Make Love Not Warcraft guy, just right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think. Do we have anything else we want to talk about? I feel like we may have covered pretty much the whole episode. It was great. I thought this episode was prescient. It was really like a satire that I hadn't thought we had reached yet. It's getting pretty crazy. I feel like the way that I'm the fact that I'm excited, like a diss track, like the Kendrick Drake beef, that I want to see what the White House tweets about this is pretty crazy. Is a pretty crazy time to be living. That
White House's reaction from it, and Trump gave it last time, Vance gave it this time. Like Kristi Noem is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. Well,
he's gonna stay the hell out of this one.
Well, and also like these, I once again, like my criticism of their criticism is so, like, I don't even want to bother with it because these people are so repugnant that I'm just kind of like their insults of them are so close to just what reality is that it's not even like they can say anything about it. Like, you can't be like, I don't do that. It's like you shot a dog and you round up people and speak disgustingly about it. What? And you constantly are getting Botox, like,
and you put a new face on it every time.
Yeah, every time. It's like all the what do you want? It's not like you shot the dog of hope in the face, and you want us to sit here and pretend like you didn't. And it's also going back to JD Vance. I appreciate how when they made fun of him, the way they did it was different than it's been being done. Like, it's not, they didn't just go with the blueberry face. Little lollipop.
Oh, he kind of had it. He had it. The eyeliner and all that shit on.
Yeah, he had it going. It was, all of the jokes are there, but it wasn't like it wasn't like they went with their own interpretation.
That wasn't the main joke. The main joke was being the little dwarf guy or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with this episode, I loved all the references. I thought it was really clever how they transformed Mar-a-Lago into Fantasy Island. And how they did that swooping shot with the plane landing and Trump opening up the curtains of the window and then running down. He's in a white tux. And Vance is in a white tux. Like, that was so funny. And like, I know that reference is probably dated for a lot of people, right? But even if it's dated for people and they don't get the reference, it's still such a funny image that you could still laugh about it. So like, what a home run.
So many good visual homage in movies and TV just come from things that we've forgotten about culturally and somebody remembered it well enough, So, it's Seven Samurai gets reused all the time, so an 8.5, so why not Fantasy Island? It's a fun reference that my dad will get. That they grew up on watching, right? Exactly, and it fits the tone. It looks right, and I'm laughing. I know it's a reference to something, which there's a whole side essay to write about how we grew up in a time where everything was already references. Sure. But
it's not always great references.
Yeah, exactly.
They always hit that parody perfect. Well, hashtag eat a bag of dicks, as South Park put out. I'm going to give this episode 8 out of 10 MAGA tears. Just a lot of MAGA tears on Twitter as a reaction. Oh, man. Like, just keep crying about how Matt and Trey are woke liberals or whatever nonsense you want to make it so you can cope.
What's a woman?
Because that shit is funny, and you just make it kind of funnier, your reaction to it. I like it when the liberals get upset too and start whining about South Park, and then you come on your computers and also make fun of it. But you got to take it too, people. You can't have it one way. and you're the butt of the joke this season.
And it's important for you to hear
it. Joe Biden, but Joe Biden ain't relevant. South Park's relevant, and your man is very relevant right now to be made fun of. And I'm excited to see what they do with RFK probably this season.
Oh my God.
I'm excited to see what they do with all these goobers. Stephen Miller. Or whatever they do next. So, like, Keep it coming, and I hope they do make fun of some Democrat stuff or whatever. Shake it up a bit.
And they do.
Fun. But I don't think there's really that much funny stuff going on with the parody. But they'll figure it out if there is. So whatever.
Yeah, and I'm sure if they lean into the Epstein stuff, they'll bring Bill and Hillary into it because they've already parodied it. Yeah.
The Gentleman's Club. I'm Bill. He's Bill.
Yeah, like they've made plenty of jokes about that. Right now, that's just not relevant in the news, so it doesn't fit to make fun of it. But if there's room for it, and they'll put it in there.
We got weeks ahead, man. A lot of things could happen because the thing about South Park is what people don't understand in their brains is they make stuff that's happening right now. They don't make stuff would have been good 2 years ago when they weren't on air because of a lawsuit. They're making fun of stuff now, so. Put your belt on, put your little suspenders on, because you're walking out with your little dick around, and you look foolish.
They could, I don't know if it's already happened, but I know Kamala Harris is releasing a book, and I could very easily see that press tour being absolutely bizarre, and that being something that they parody. So I could easily see that just being something that they lean into as part of a joke. But, I'll give it a rating.
We know that Trump is every week there's something funny.
Yeah, well, to make fun of, endlessly. There's always something funny. He's always entertaining. It's a dystopian horror to look at the television and constantly be entertained. But I will say, it is hell, and it is always happening. So,
give me the brainworm, guys. I want the brainworm.
Yeah, I know that because of the way they really choose to depict some people. I'm thinking of Snooki or Sally Struthers. We may get some really funny depictions of the rest of his cabinet. I'm already seeing Stephen Miller as a ghoul, or RFK as like you said, having the worm in his brain. Maybe I don't know when Dune 3 comes out, but
there's a lot of references from sci-fi stuff that they can do. Remember that Futurama thing where they have the slugs on the brain? That's based on something. So they could probably do something like that.
Yeah, easily they could do. There's so many things we already know they're Stargate fans, so they could do something with the Goa'uld, the being the worm in his brain. Or he's just a demon from hell, or there's so many ways they can go with it. But I thought this episode was really good. My one thing with this episode was, I think there was almost too much going on. It was too much too fast. There were some times where I was wait, the whole bit going into heaven, very funny. Love what they did with that. I think that may have been an idea at some point where they were going to make Mackey join ICE, and it wasn't going to be the whole plot. It was going to be a B plot, and maybe they'd continue it in a later episode. And in my mind, I think they like Mr. Mackey too much to leave him as such a piece of shit for so long, that they almost had to kind of rush through it. Because the heaven thing, I was like, wait, why the hell are they in heaven? And I had to rewind it a sec just to watch how they got there. Because Matt and Trey are, I feel like you and I have talked about this before. I love their writing processes. They've said before that they don't go and then they go but and therefore, and so it's one of those things where Mr. Mackey joins ICE, because he can't afford things. Therefore,
But then this guy says, "Oh, heaven!" So therefore, they have to go to heaven.
Yeah, exactly. But he arrests a guy, and it makes him question everything. So I appreciated seeing how that was playing out throughout the episode, but it was happening almost a little too fast sometimes, and a little too not what's the word?
Disjointed a little bit.
Yeah,
because they're around ideas. Yeah, because it opens up the episode, right? There's really quick rehash. Kyle and Wendy are complaining about this podcast. Cartman thinks they're talking about him. It's really Clyde. So you set up this thing where you're are they going to be involved? No, they're not even in it at all. Then it goes into Cartman and Clyde, and then Cartman's master debating. Clyde's trying to get his nut. So there's two plots going on with those two. Then there's the Mackey plot, and then you kind of tie in Trump too. So there's 4 things going on. Plus the Kristi Noem, all the gags. So there's 5 distinct things happening there.
And they balance it well.
A little 2 minutes, but it worked. I thought it worked.
Yeah, it's South Park. I'm not here to tell them how to do their job, but I do think that What?
They do it in 7 days, you know. They can't really refine it.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of these ideas they had here, they even worked. And I mean, this one, I feel like they even had a little longer than 7 days, and they reworked some of it to try and see how they could fit it into it. And it does stick the landing, and that's always the big thing. Is like, do all the messages land? Are the points there? But I think it's so funny because the show, it's another thing where the show has evolved so fucking much. Because it used to be, how do a bunch of 8-year-olds see crazy things happening in the world? And now we are going all the way to Mar-a-Lago with Mr. Mackey as our leading character to go get, it used to be Kyle always gives the what I learned today speech. And here it's not even written as what I learned today speech where he's addressing the audience. He's addressing the young disaffected men who are becoming grifters and right-wing lunatics to be like, here's the situation. Money is hard and the world is difficult, but you can't lose yourself in it. And I think that it's so interesting to see the growth. So I'll give it a 8 out of 10 cheesy poofs, snacky s'mores.
You wanted to talk about the award show, so I don't know what your thought was on that.
Oh, I thought
my
big thing about it was I just love all of the rhetoric, the way that they like really just took the stupid kind of fucking comments you see all the time from people and distilled it down into these little sound bites that they could just say regularly, which, to be fair, South Park invented and coined a lot of these and is the king of these kinds of things, but in a ironic sense. But my big thing that I loved was the Charlie Kirk award design, the way that it had his stupid smile and as just very fun. And I like that it's like the one of the things I like about it is just the satire of it being an award. Once again, it's that life life dichotomy that I'm uncomfortable with right now. But the way that they depict
life imitating art.
Yeah, like I don't. It's another thing like that where it's like, this is not an award we give out. We don't give out an award for people for being bigots, publicly online. But we're really close to that being a thing. And you know what, to be fair, there may have been a few cases where Trump has probably awarded people for being bigots online. So I'm not even going to put it past, some organization or somebody in that party playing this game. So that's one of those things where it's like, it's not a nice red carpet event, but it might be a nice red carpet event. And Charlie Kirk does have, what is his stupid organization called? The
Turning Point USA.
Yeah, Turning Point USA. Like, Turning Point USA could very easily do something like that. And they probably have in the past. So I enjoy the joke because it is kind of like pointing how absurd it is to give someone an award in this scenario, and how like Cartman feels slighted by the whole thing, and it's like, you don't get to feel slighted for being like a gross pundit.
But they stole a shtick.
Yeah, he stole a shtick. So he is allowed to do it because it's like him or Tucker Carlson are the only two people allowed to be upset.
Yeah, that's right. The inventors, the OG grifters.
Yeah, those guys. Well, that's the thing is, I don't know if those guys are grifters. I think they are just like, they hate for the love of the game. They are real haters. You can't teach that kind of hate.
It harkens back to the Chappelle Show sketch. Haters, players, ball. After you watch this video and you like and subscribe, go into the social media of South Park and make sure you like all the comments that are just laughing at all the butthurt people, because that's how you win in the end.
Yeah, we got to
make sure you get ratioed. Ha 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 ha.
Mobilize people in Minecraft.
Get your keyboards ready. All right, B Noah P. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. We both love this episode. We got 8 more to go, and I'm so excited to see what they have cooking in the oven.
We'll see you guys next week. Like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.